So, what I want to capture, what I'd like you to talk about, find out about, and I'll give you, we'll have the, we can either go for the board or a big flip chart. So what is easy, which is going to be easy hopefully, what is difficult, and what do you need help with, the challenges, what do you need help with, and then, like, who do you need it from? How can you help each other? Can your local community or your neighbours help? Can EcoCounts help? Can like a charity help? Can the local council help? And then of course, well, can central government help? Now I know everybody immediately goes, well of course central government could sort the damn thing out. But I mean just in terms of practical things that they could realistically actually introduce. Stuff that your local Conservative MP would actually support, not turn his nose at. So that's essentially what we want to do. We have got a, 20 minutes, is that all? Well, we can go along a bit longer unless anybody needs to disappear immediately, but we have, okay, no, sorry. I'm being very bad at my time. My timetable. Yeah, we've got an hour and 20 minutes, exactly. So, and at some point I'll have to sit down and work out what I'm talking about in terms of timing, but then we'll break off, and then we'll recap it afterwards. Okay, so, question over there.
So when you say what is easy, what do you mean? What is easy about reducing your carbon emissions?
Well, I guess I said what is easy because you can immediately have a ton of ideas and just put them down under what is easy. So maybe if you have a column, put that down under what is easy and you don't have to pay much more attention to it. It's what is difficult is the primary focus and what stops you. And the what is easy bit, you might think it's really easy and then actually it's not easy because you never remember to do it.
Yeah, but I think the question is what is in response to what question? What's the question at the top of the board?
Is it behaviours? Is that the question?
Actions to reduce your carbon footprint.
What can you do anyway? If you need any inspiration, we've got 100 things you can do there. And there's every website that's got their own top 10 things you need to do.
Yeah, but to do what?
Yeah, what are we trying to do?
To tackle climate
Reduce
change.
your carbon.
Tackle climate change.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. I mean, obviously, we've been talking pretty heavily about personal carbon footprints. So a lot of that will be really easy, like okay, I'm going to stay at home for my holiday this year, or so on, but you don't, so that would go under the easy one. Difficult one would be how do I stop all the family going on holiday and leaving me at home?
Yes.
And there's a whole ton of other stuff here as well. So how many people have actually seen this? I love it. And it's been around for ages, but I'm the only person I ever see.
Who's published it? What is it?
Small Works. They basically put a Creative Commons license on it for anybody to use. I thought it was XR, I can't remember. Anyway, then you've got a ton of examples on here, so this will be lying around. Everybody get inspiration from it if they want to. And it covers everything. It covers all of the aspects that I went through, how to change society, going from the personal, the community, alternative approaches, the inside game of business and industry, and mass protests and so on. It's all, and anything else. If you think, actually, you just missed out number 6 there, this big thing that you haven't thought about, then we can go into that as well. Okay, now the question is,
But there's an emphasis on personal action, or not necessarily? It's broader than that.
look, if you're here and you think that you don't need to do any personal action, then essentially I think that you're wasting your time. Yes, of course, personal action. What can we do now? And the community stuff as well is the next one up. Because what could EcoCounts do? If you say, okay, I'm going to listen to what EcoCounts will come up with. What do you want EcoCounts to tell you, or to ask you to do, or to make available? The same thing with local government. What could local government change that would make it a whole lot easier? Any more definitions? I'm afraid I'm terrible at this. I came from the software industry, and normally somebody writes down what I have to do.
Well, you were the one who started with that one this morning.
Oh yeah, you did. You were.
What was
right.
easy? What was easy?
We spent way more time talking about what's difficult and what's easy, and yeah, the two main things about what's easy was these small daily actions. So, for example, for him it was being vegan. For him is very easy. She also mentioned that the fact of starting to stop eating meat ended up to a point where she doesn't even like meat. So it became very easy to not eat meat, for example. Changing some shopping habits, and these things might be more easy. Showing up to events, which was a bit changed different opinions, because for me it's not easy, but for her it is. So depends. And then we move to what's difficult.
Yeah, so what easy was the things that you're in direct control of, which are your consumer habits. And I found as I did each one a bit more, they got bigger and more able to do them, but starting off really small and no self-criticism. Difficult. Motivation. I want to say something.
Okay. So yes, to keep this motivation, no? So things related to motivation, energy, time. The challenge was this energy dissipation as well. So then we started talking about building communities, or how we should, because we were putting a lot of weight on ourselves to start initiatives, start things, no? And maybe people have already started these things. So this connecting, overwhelmed by too many initiatives. Yeah, we also thought that we needed structures, no? Places that facilitated this meeting.
Yeah, I don't know what to say.
I will agree.
What was the next part? Yeah, we started to help each other out with just things that we could inform each other about. Like I asked, where can I get some local organic produce, for example, and there were loads of ideas, and so it's just to me, it just made me realize it's just so good to just talk in a small group to people. You get so much done. It was really nice just talking with them. I don't know, I felt really energetic and really inspired by what everyone was saying. And you get so much information just suddenly from such a small group of people. That's just so useful, I think, in life, just to be able to connect with a few people like that and get ideas and get sharing. Yeah, gratitude to yourself is another thing. Yeah, we talked about a lot of random stuff. Yeah.
The difficulty
Can't
also
quite sum it up.
engaging other people, no? So we are
It's
comfortable.
difficult.
Yeah.
But then what do we need from EcoCounts? You mentioned like a coach or a mentor, someone, and you mentioned something like I would meet some people to start something. So maybe having a place like this, or where we can meet up regularly, people can meet up, and there's someone, a structure or not, so we can start something, I don't know.
I think also
But have the help to start, because I think we feel a bit lost as well. I mean, I mentioned the gardening, but it's such an easy thing, but maybe it's not that easy as well, because I don't, having a sort of, you had to go online, as you mentioned, the next door or meet up groups, so you can go and search in these groups for something that you're looking for, I don't know. Or have a place like this, so you can kind of pop in now and then, find out, like a hub.
Yeah. But we also just talked about how we just sometimes feel we're not powerful when we are. If we're just struggling for a solution, sometimes we can just make that solution ourselves and we get other people involved, or if we see other people have the same problem and we just do it together. So it's sometimes we forget our own power in society. We just become consumers and expect someone to just give it to us. And,
I think also another topic, it's diverts a bit from the task itself, but was managing also this frustration of being in environments flatmates, families, where they might not fight or like they might not take actions the same, or maybe they do, but not in the same way we do to tackle this issue. And yeah, how to engage in conversations. And that was something that some of us found difficult, that maybe we're not even engaging in a conversation. And that creates frustration, especially if you're, for me, if you are in the same room. So you see, there's like shared living space that I also feel accountable for, but it's not done in a way that I think it's the best for the climate, because there's another person who would do it differently. And yeah, how to approach this topic, how to make other people maybe care, or what would make them care. So yeah, we're discussing this and obviously haven't found an answer.
And also there was another thing that came up about difficulties, dissipation of energy. Too many WhatsApp groups, too many ideas, our friends have got ideas, and is there something helpful about choosing your thing and leaving all the other groups, leaving all those conversations, and just and from that thing, other things will come. You'll be in with like-minded people. I'm speaking pretty much for myself. I think I've become, after 2 years since COP, totally dissipated into too many groups, with too much going on, trying to work as an activist, and absolute fog of confusion.
Well, with me having the opposite, I came back very inspired. We create a WhatsApp group. It's too many maybe virtual stuff. WhatsApp group, post, this and that, and we didn't carry on. You know, just we lost the thing.
Maybe it's the keywords, right? Like virtual, because we are asking for yet another space, but we are complaining of too many spaces. So maybe it's just to be.
Just lastly, we had a what do we need? Do you want us to do that? Just what do we need was being less fragmented. That was one of the things. Making a partnership with someone, and what came up from a few of us was a sort of a mentor, life coach, companion, someone who comes up, you know, you have a dedicated time, and you are the person that is going to be spoken about. What do you need to do better, bigger, stronger actions? What's holding you back? Yeah, some wind at your back.
Nice.
Brilliant.
Can I just respond on one thing? So that thing about the proliferation of everything, right? And I think part of the sort of the mindset is that things have to sustain, they have to keep going, they can't stop. Yeah? So people start a WhatsApp group and they have to keep it going. And then the other thing is they have to make it bigger. So everybody tries to make everything bigger and they have to keep it going. And I think if we can not do that necessarily, but just say things are more maybe project or time-based, so we've got a particular thing, we're going to do it for a period of time, and we close it down and done it. And actually, it will probably continue, but in other ways, because people learn and then apply that learning separately. It doesn't have to be in that form, and because everybody hangs on to what they've done, it creates this horrible proliferation of stuff, which is valueless. So anyway, just a thought. So at the moment,
we talked about focused goals, just having focused goals for everything.
Nice.
Like just to keep up the motivation, like sometimes you need that single goal to aim for that's achievable as well. And then once you're done, yeah, that's it. You finish whatever you're with. You don't keep dragging it on for no reason, just to...
Right, excellent. Do you want to swap round?
Yeah. Team, should we give the other team some more clap? Carola, we've been called to stand next to.
We have to stand.
To Xenia, so is it Xenia?
Jane.
Okay, I'm going to stand the same.
I think you should start because you came up with this lovely framework that we've been using.
Very Deloitte.
Fresh, actually. But no, you're right. We've been using it for years. So very quickly, before I hand over to Xenia, we wrote what we thought was a question on the top, just to keep us on the straight and narrow. Then we had this little thing. So the question was, what is easy and what is difficult to do? And we thought we need to say what is also impactful. So that's why we had a separate dimension. I'm sorry, is that
Zhenya.
Zhenya made the point there's a third dimension, which you've already mentioned, which is what is in your control. So that may or may not be included on ease of use, but yeah, that's another dimension. So we then just brainstorm, put up a bunch of stuff. Not surprisingly, quite a few of those, we put up the same things, sometimes in slightly different positions. And then we have then discussed 3 or 4 of those, some of which have parallels to yours. So, Jenny, over to you.
I guess I will start with the consumer side, so consumption in general. So there are quite a few ideas which would fall into that category. So it's all about reduction or reuse of certain items that we consume on a daily basis. So basically either it's paper or plastic or just buying food that you don't need or not storing it properly so that it goes to waste. So you can see some of the ideas here. Another thing was loosely related to consumption, but then again going vegan or vegetarian would help a lot with carbon emissions. So I guess it's helpful to note that in the majority of cases, things that are referred to consumption are not that difficult to do. Like it requires changing of habits and just thinking more about the impact of the consumption than about convenience, which in many cases is what makes us consume more and more. And then raising awareness is something that we deeply need because sometimes we are not even aware of the impact of our consumption choices. And then another very relevant point was how do we make it, how do we turn it around? So we're talking about ideas as to incentivize people to buy more responsibly, and then that could be done by awards, by gamification, things like that. So then I'm going to pass on to who wants to volunteer.
Can I just add a couple of things to that? So that gamification thing, obviously you need a foundation. So Jenny, does anybody else know WeWard? Like reward with a W? I can't say what anyway, so it comes out as reward. So Jenny, you use that, so that's a really interesting step counter where it converts into rewards and you donate to something, right? So what we were thinking is something like that might be super interesting on the incentive side of doing small actions. You need a basis for that, and that's of course where something like EcoCount comes in, which provides the basis for those rewards. So you don't have to have the whole system, you don't have to, do all the capture of actions and then create the rewards. You could integrate into something like WeWard. So we've already built a community, they've built a way of remunerating, with tokens or whatever else it is, a reward for something, and then you provide the validity of that thing. So we just thought that might be a good way of doing it rather than trying to build everything yourself. We also talked about the fact that you need smartphones for that, probably, and not everybody has a smartphone, for example. And one way around that is to get allies who do have smartphones. So you can pair up, and that might be a nice way of creating a community, a little bit of community, or whatever you called it. I can't remember right at the end of yours, your mentor friend or whatever else. They might have that role as well. Liz, Pamela?
Oh, well, so I'll just say something about community engagement, because I do a lot of green activism stuff in my bar in Haringey, but it's the same old people that come every time. There are lots of communities that going to meetings isn't their thing. So how do we come together as communities to make, we've got some really big decisions to make over the next few years. We're not being led from the top, so we have to push from the bottom. And we don't have any community meetings anymore, and I just don't, I don't know how we get over that. I say bring back the moot, the Anglo-Saxon moot, which was when communities, well obviously the men only in those days, came together to make decisions about things that had gone wrong and what they were going to do about it. and I would like to see us...
That's a citizens' assembly, really.
Well, yes. I mean, I don't know. There's a bit of controversy about citizens' assemblies because they're quite expensive to organise. But yes, they are one way forward. People, because, you know, I do get the feeling that most people now think, oh yes, there's a problem.
Yes.
But they really just don't know what action to take about it. And maybe we should break it down into small areas. I was just thinking, perhaps we, each of us could organise a discussion somewhere in our communities, say, if people have got information about, where to get the best vegan food in the borough, well, let's exchange that information. So it can be quite kind of focused and tiny, but I want to see more community spaces, places where we can meet and discuss problems that we have to tackle.
Which is interesting because we also talked about, so we all agreed, I think community engagement was an issue, right? One of the observations was that, you have an event like this, 24 people sign up, half the people turn up, and this plays out again and again and again. So and so on the one hand, there's not enough community spaces, but on the other hand, there's sort of a plethora of things to attract your attention, and some people sign up to many and then don't go to any, right? So we did talk about, what are those behavioural issues, and I don't think, Xenia, you mentioned communication, and trying to make that meaningful. We then brought in the reward thing. Can you have a reward system again, not over-engineered, but some sort of reward system for actually using your voice, as opposed to necessarily just reducing your carbon footprint directly. But it is a challenge, right? I mean, I'm seeing this played out again and again and again, particularly when, I don't know if it's particularly, but people say that if people pay, they will go. It's harder to get them to turn up. It's harder to get them to agree to turn up in the first place, but once they've paid, they will come. But then, of course, again, you're potentially excluding a group of people, etc., etc. So, getting people to turn up is a challenge.
But also, I mean, one of the problems is that people now we've got used to seeking information ourselves on the web, but you obviously only look at the things that you're going to agree with. So it seems to me we're becoming more and more siloed into particular viewpoints, and that's not. We need to hear other people's points of view. I mean, when I meet other people who, particularly in my borough, we've had lots of controversy over low traffic neighbourhoods, and I just listen to what people are saying to me. I don't argue. I mean, I'm a cyclist, so obviously I'm in favour of low traffic neighbourhoods. But I listen to what they're saying and the stupid things they come out with. Yes. So how do we? And you need obviously something as emotional as that. You have to have a facilitator. You have to have somebody who's going to make sure that it's polite, it's calm, and it's positive discussion. It's not just shouting at each other. And we've lost the habit of doing that totally, and we just don't do it anymore.
Can I just ask a quick question? Because here in Hackney, we just kind of launching the climate action plan, and I don't know if it's now it's climate action week. If there is a moment right now, that can help us in a way. Because I think maybe I just kind of Hackney and my local councillor, how can we get this moment of the action plan? Because I really dislike all these action plans, too many action plans, we sometimes don't leave the paper.
Well, I mean, Haringey in particular are particularly bad at this. They have lots of consultations, but it's mostly online, so that cuts out loads of people for starters. And secondly, you're so guided. Your answers are so guided. It's just so frustrating. Sometimes there isn't even a free text place for you to say what you really think. So these are tick box exercises. These are not consultations, in my opinion. But how you get people to meet together to talk about it, I don't know. And there are, as I say, so I live in Tottenham, and I can tell you, I live in a very short road. My neighbours are Vietnamese one side, they're West Indian over the way, they're Turkish down the road, they're from Cameroon next door. I never see those people at any meetings I go to. So
maybe we have problem.
Yeah, so how do we? How can I include them in any things that I'm thinking about?
It's the street party.
Yes. That's a
Maybe ask them.
possibility, yes.
Maybe ask them.
Without an agenda.
Yes. Anyway, that's,
Thank
yeah.
Do you want to mention the soda bun?
Rewards, more rewards. We want more rewards for doing the right thing. That's
No,
what we
it was
want.
another thing about getting people to, well, come to the, I mean, they seem to be green, U3A, green thing I started and did for 2 years, and then just sort of fell apart, and it's, you know, even more important now, but people ended up with about 2 people. Somebody else was coordinating it, with 2 people, and it's just, you know, they, U3A are sort of older people, and, you know, I just thought they would be quite up for it all. It's hard to know what appeals to people.
Yeah, I think rewards work. I know someone who started an app in the local authority in Brazil, and it's like a Islamic type of favela. And he was just creating, everybody has a phone, so it's easy to download. And he's just creating some sort of community engagement through the app, but then they start with points, and points become things they can go in the local shops and just become a big thing. And the guy now is actually selling the project to local authorities to work together with local authorities, because they thought, like, oh, there's, I can look after this garden, but because obviously in front of my house, I can do it, and I get rewards for that, and then start. And this is something that's growing. So the rewarding idea is, I don't know how, exchanging, and sometimes it's exchange skills. Okay, I help with the garden and you help me with this. But they are all need to connect and get the reward really the IT or the hub.
As an older person, I hate using apps and I hate using WhatsApp. I do it because I have to, but I hate it. I hate it. I'm sorry.
Can I interrupt? We don't have to stop here, but there is food to be had. And probably some people want to go. And we also want to make a sort of wrap up the video. Otherwise, we'll just end up with a huge amount of video and not knowing what to do with it all. So, I have got the food at the table here, and I suggest that just to make, without trying to interrupt the flow now, that we can just grab what we want. It's all finger food, and I'll get some plates and put them on the table here.
Thank you.
Right.